Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me. Thank you for joining us in the webinar on the Clinical and Public Health Research Center grants. This is organized by DBT Wellcome Trust India Alliance. And I am Dipanita here. With me, I have my colleagues, Devendra and Yukti and Sara as well. We are overwhelmed with the interest received to attend this webinar, and I'm just trying to explain the scheme a little bit so that it helps you to design your application. Before I go into further details, let me just inform you that you are kept on mute, so you cannot ask questions verbally, but there is a question box. I hope you can locate it. You can type out your questions on the question box. Anyway, after the presentation is over, we will take up all the questions. And the structure of the webinar is such that we will try to explain the scheme in little details. And then we will talk about the application form a bit. And then at the end, we will take up your questions. And as you can see on the screen, this webinar is being recorded. Your identity is kept anonymized here, but the recording will be shared widely later on. Okay, so before I talk more about the scheme, we call it CRC grants because Clinical or Public Health Research Center grants is really a big name. So before I discuss in detail on this, let me tell you that India Alliance is an independent public charity, and we are funding research in health and biomedical science in India since 2008. However, most of our funding was in the form of individual fellowships, and we are continuing to fund individual fellowships. We also have one specific scheme on clinical and public health research to fund fellowships. But we felt that we have to do something beyond that. And so this scheme was launched in last year with the new phase of India Alliance. And the purpose of this scheme is to establish research-oriented virtual centers with focus on major biomedical research problems. And we want to strengthen the clinical and public health research ecosystems in India through this scheme. There is a dire need to develop physician scientists, as you can understand very well in the current situation now, and the scheme also delivers towards it. We want to bring medical schools, hospitals together, along with universities, basic science and engineering institutions to develop these research center grants. And as you can see on the screen, only this is an institutional grant and only Indian institutions are eligible. Among the Indian institutions, we will accept applications only from not-for-profit organizations. So I have provided a link on the screen, and uh, so that link will tell you in details what I mean by not-for-profit organization. If your institution have a few of the documentations that are mentioned on this link, then your institution is not for profit. Mostly all our research organizations in India are not for profit, and among the hospitals also, government hospitals are not for profit, and then there are some not for profit research wings in the non-government hospitals as well. And because this is a research center grant, we want at least two institutions to come together to apply for this. So one institution cannot apply for this grant unless there is any exceptional reason. So these are the awardees from the last year, 2019 round. So as you can see, we could make 2 awards, and these are Professor Anurag Kurpad from St. John's Medical College, Bangalore, and his team. And the other award went to Dr. Raja Narayanan of L.V. Prasad Eye Institute, Hyderabad. Professor Kurpad has been working on the role of vitamin B12 in public health nutrition for a long time, and his project is very much on the same line. And as you can see from the group of the researchers, there are 2 institutions that have participated in this grant. The other grant from Raja Narayanan, it's about Center for Health Outcomes Research and Economics. And he has collaborated, LVPI is collaborating with Indian Institute of Management here and Indian Institute of Public Health here. So as you can see from the title of the grant, economics is a very major role here on that grant, and that's why Professor Chirantan Chatterjee from IIM Ahmedabad plays a major role into this. So it's health equity, health economics, this kind of topics are very much welcome. Okay, so when I talk more about the sponsoring institutions, as this is an institutional grant, it's more important to understand what is the institution's role here. So when I say sponsoring institution, it means the institutions that hosts the PI and the co-PI. So we require strong commitment from the institutions. The institution should support with infrastructure. They should give protected time for trainees and the mentors and other any direct research support. There should be a sustainable plan beyond the funding period. So this grant is only for 5 years. We fund you only for 5 years, but beyond the funding period also, the institution should have a plan to sustain, because when a virtual center is being built with so much of effort from different organizations coming together, and there will be research staff who will be trained through this. This is very much a capacity building project where many people will be trained under this grant. So we don't want to waste that manpower. The institutions should have a plan to carry forward the plan, carry forward the project beyond the funding period. Then we want the institution to provide access to an in-house or external clinical study design unit and relevant training programs. By clinical study design unit, if you have one in your institution, you would understand it, but for others, let me explain that many study design units are there just to support the researchers on methodology of the research. And sometimes these study design units are there focusing on specific diseases. uh, Sometimes there are support from like biostatisticians, epidemiologists. It can be any kind of a support, but this unit is there to support the clinical research happening. So the access to a clinical study design unit, a structured one, is very much important. And if you don't have one in your own institution, you can also, and you have access to an external unit, then that's also fine with us. Um, all support required to carry out the funded research, training, and capacity building is what is expected from the institutions. The institution should demonstrate commitment by supporting the project with cash, like a matching grant, or kind beyond the usual support for space and utilities. Let me also mention here that under this grant, you cannot ask for funds to build a building. So no bricks and mortar here. Institutions should support uh, support the PIs and co-PIs for that. And we also expect appropriate resource sharing plan, because multiple institutions are coming together, and it's very important that an appropriate plan is there for the institution about data sharing, about sharing of funds, and there can be any other kind of sharing as well. So for the fund transfer, if you are awarded, India Alliance will transfer funds only to the PI's host institution. And we expect this host institution to have the ability to administer the funds over 5 years, and also transfer the funds to institutions of co-PIs as and when required. So that is one very important role that we expect from the sponsoring organization of the PI. An appropriate research management plan at the coordinating institution, and preferably at all other institutions, is very much expected. By research management plan, what I mean is that you will have multiple people working at multiple locations. So there few institutions already have research management units, research management offices, to coordinate between all the researchers under one grant. And the research management office helps the researchers to make their annual reports Annual reports will be scientific as well as financial. So the research management office helps the researchers towards that. Then there may be multiple occasions where the researchers have to communicate with the funders. In that case, also the research management office takes a big role for negotiations and regular communications. Any update that has to go on between the parties can be handled by the research management office. So if you already have one in your institution, then absolutely fine. If not, you can, and you want to understand more about that, you can also ask us. We have also started one India Research Management Initiative, or IRMI, IRMI. Under that, we also fund research management projects. So, and you can request research management funds to establish the research management part of the project under this scheme as well. Now, let me go into what is expected from the PI and co-PIs. So, institution can designate one PI and up to 3 co-PIs. And as I said, it's not one institution. As PI and co-PIs here. And we expect that the PI is a senior clinical and a public health researcher with an established track record of science leadership, research training, and mentorship. And the tenure of the PI and co-PIs for the entire duration of the grant is very much important. So this grant is for 5 years. You need to have 5 years from the activation date of the grant. You need to have tenure at the institution for that duration of the grant. Yes, that's important. And this institution should be your primary affiliation along with a guarantee of salary. Co-PIs, when I spoke about PI being a senior researcher, for co-PI also it can be same, or it depends on the choice of the PI or the institution. We don't have any specific written guidelines on the number of years of experience or anything like that, but in general we would expect that the co-PIs have and the PI have expressed have good publication record or any other leadership record to show. A mentorship record is very much important here as well. The roles of the PI and the co-PI should be clearly stated and justified. So which part of the project has to be handled by who has to be clearly stated and justified. Commitment of time to India Alliance project here, considering your other responsibilities. Depending on the level of your seniority in your institution, you must be having all other responsibilities, maybe administrative responsibilities. If you are a clinician, you must be having clinical responsibilities. So considering all your other responsibilities, how much time you commit for this project, this information is very much important on the application. International collaboration is encouraged because the number of PI and co-PIs are limited here. If you require, you can collaborate externally, of course. A collaborator will not receive any funds based on the budget distribution unless you need to pay the collaborator for a very small help, maybe for a sample or something, or as a consultancy charge, you can pay the collaborator, but otherwise collaborator's role is limited here. But you can have international collaboration. India Alliance schemes have no bar of age or nationality. So the age and nationality of PI and co-PI can be any. And as I explained earlier, the PI's institution is responsible to give us periodic reports. So this will be annual reports on the progress of the project, and the PI is responsible for that. Similarly, the expenditure reports will be the responsibility of the PI's organization. So I'm coming to the funding support that is available on this grant. We expect that your budget request to be commensurate with the proposed project and must be supported with strong scientific justifications. And as you might have seen on the website, the total budget cap is 10 crores Indian rupees, and this includes a 10% overheads. So if you are designing your budget, if your total request is coming to 9 crores, then 1 crore will be the overheads. Whatever your total request comes to, 10% of that goes to, sorry, I'm wrong. My calculation was not correct. Anyway, so whatever your total uh, request is, 10% of that goes towards overheads. Uh, so you can also ask research staff here. So for the training of research staff, for the salary of research staff, you can ask cost here. Consumable, of course, equipment costs can be requested. If you have to do some animal studies, that also you can request cost for animal studies, access charges, travel. This travel cost can be any depending on how much travel you have to make between your collaborating organizations or uh, to go somewhere to get trained. Uh, it depends, or you are traveling just to attend a meeting, so anything is fine. You can justify your request under the travel category. There is a flexible funding allowance or the contingency, which is 4 lakhs per year. And under this, you can, we have kept this fixed uh, so that you can use this towards like unanticipated costs. Like mentioned earlier, you can request funds for strengthening the research management structure at the institution. And you can also request partial salary of PI in case the organization of the PI or co-PI asks you to raise partial salary from extramural grants. Okay, so for people who have joined later, let me again tell you there is a question box. If you want to ask any question, you can type in your questions there and we will try to answer your questions towards the end of the presentation. Now I'm going to talk about CRTP, which is Clinical Research Training Program. So this is a component of the CRC. So you can't apply for CRTP alone, but you can incorporate CRTP into your CRC application. So this is a training program, as you can see from the name, and this is there to uh, provide a mentored research training fellowship for 3 to 5 years duration. And this is for medical graduate and postgraduates or equivalent Ayush, nursing, dentistry, optometry. Graduates and postgraduates in these areas are also eligible to apply for these fellowships. It depends completely on how you are planning to train, what is your training capacity to train who. You can choose the fellows accordingly. And this is in addition to what is there in your CRC application, CRC request for budget. So each fellowship is 50 lakhs Indian rupees, and this will support each fellow for that 3 or 4 years duration. So if you are awarded 2 fellowships along with your CRC, if you can get 50 lakhs multiplied by 2 plus the CRC budget to support these fellows. Okay, so um, what we expect is after 3 or 4 years of training, if the trainee receives a certification or a degree, that's extremely good for them because they can show this on paper. So we would encourage that you design the CRTP plan so that at the end of it, the trainee receives a degree. And for the CRTP, we require one program head. The program head has to be located at the lead institution, which by lead institution I mean the institution of the PI. So the institution should allocate one program head. This can be the PI also. If the PI can manage both the CRC project and the CRTP program, then that's fine. He can be the program head, and there can be coordinators at participating institutions. So again, co-PIs, if they want to be coordinators, they can be coordinators for CRTP. And when you name program head and coordinators, please see that we expect senior clinical or public health or basic science researchers with an established track record of leadership, research, and training and mentorship to be holding these positions. Okay, now coming to the application process a little bit. So you might have seen that the pro forma of the application is available on the website now, and online applications will open on 1st May. We have the submission deadline of 14th May, midnight, 11:59 p.m. After your applications are submitted, we will do a preliminary check at the office. This preliminary check is basically to ensure that all the documentation required is submitted properly. And after the preliminary checks by the office, we will also check the eligibility of the PIs. The applications will be sent to the screening committee review. The screening committee is a virtual committee, not appointed by India Alliance. Sorry, they don't have contract of employment with India Alliance, but these are scientists sitting in different parts of the world. So you will see the names of the people who are under the screening committee on the website. After the screening committee puts their reviews, the applications go to peer reviewers. Peer reviewers are again external people who are not in India Alliance Committee. This can be anyone based on their expertise. If their expertise match with your field of area, proposal, then we will send your application to them to get it peer reviewed. And after the peer review is done, there is a funding committee review. So funding committee is the final committee that interviews the applications. And only at this stage, if your application is rejected, we will be able to share detailed scientific feedback with you. For the previous steps, where office checks and the screening committee checks, if you are declined at those stages, we will not be able to share detailed feedback there. The interview is normally planned in November. I don't know, according to what we are facing now, if we will still have the interviews in November, but I think we will continue with our plan, what is there. So interview will be during mid-November, and we expect to have one PI and two co-PIs at the interview. And then the funding decision will be made. After the funding decision, we inform the awardees, and the awardees can activate their grants in few months later. So the awardees who were awarded in 2019 November round, they have already activated their grants. Okay, so we just tried to include a few points to help you to design your proposal. You must have seen that the form asks you to design a 5,000 words proposal. This 5,000 words is the proposal body. If you are putting any tables, any figures, the word of those are not counted in this word limit. We expect that you put background, aims and key questions, existing research environment at the host institution that is that is useful for you to support this project or not, strategy and work plan, and the expected outcomes. This is the general structure of the proposal that is expected, because training and mentorship is very much important in this grant. We want a very detailed explanation of that part of training of PhD and MD students under this grant, a detailed training plan and a plan to evaluate its success. This is a very much important point to mention on the proposal. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you need to have one clinical study design unit. So you have to mention what is the available clinical study design unit that you have. If you don't have one internally, which other unit are you consulting with? All these details need to be there in the proposal. The research management plan, as explained earlier, Then milestones and sustainability plan. So milestones is very much important because, as I mentioned earlier, you have to make a yearly report later on if you are awarded, and we can actually measure the progress of the project depending on the milestones achieved or not. Sustainability plan is important very much, as I mentioned earlier, that beyond these 5 years, how are you planning to keep the manpower engaged? All of that is very much important. We want the virtual center to be continuously running even after the funding period. Timelines is important. The research questions that you are asking here and the entire training plan that you have made all are fitting within the 5 years timeline. How it is fitting, all of that is important for the reviewers to see. Power calculations, sample size justification, case definition, inclusion exclusion criteria, these are very, very important for the reviewer to actually understand your proposal. If you are applying for CRTP, then please include the number of fellowships that you wish to administer. Then details of the mentors and trainers. Like I said, there has to be a program head and coordinators. But if you are involving additional mentors and trainers as well, please mention that. You might have some courses designed by your institute already, where you want your CRTP fellows to take those courses. So please include all of this information in the plan. And how you select the candidates, recruitment of the CRTP fellows. This is very much important. What will be your recruitment process? How you select these candidates, because this is the CRTP fellowship is for 3 to 4 years, and the CRC is for 5 years. So you have to have a plan to recruit the fellows as soon as you activate the CRC grant. Otherwise, the 4 years of training will not be over, and you cannot extend the training beyond the end date of the CRC grant. So it is coterminous. The CRTP and the CRC will end at the same time. Funding for clinical trials, only clinical trials is not permissible under this scheme. In case your proposal is shortlisted for interview, we will expect you to present details of one advisory board. So this is not something that you have to include in the proposal right now, but please keep in mind that if shortlisted for interview, we will ask you to have a plan of advisory board that can have members from anywhere in the world who are experts in your field of research, and who can actually provide you advices, whom you can report your progress time to time to get further advices. So we are towards the end of the presentation now, and I have just put some important links here. So the first two links are the links for clinical public health research centers and clinical and public health research training programs, CRC and CRTP. Costing policies are there. If you are putting an application, budget is very, very important, and you have to think about it right now, because after it goes through the reviews, we will not allow you to change budget much. So it is the time now to plan your budget well, and we have the entire costing policies on the website. FAQs are there. FAQs page has been designed based on the queries that we received during the last round, and we hope this will be useful if you have some queries. The recently recommended awardees from the 2019 round is also mentioned on the website. Towards the top of this slide, you will see clinical.research@indialliance.org. That is the email that we use to receive queries for this scheme. And this is the email on which you can correspond with us before or during the submission of your application. So I'm just hoping that this presentation is useful to you, and we will go to the questions now. I have my colleague Devinder Singh here. So Devinder, if you want to add something, please feel free to add. Let me read a few questions in between, and I will come back with the answers to your questions.
Thank you, Dipanvita. Good afternoon, everyone. We will take your questions now that we've received during this webinar. We will try to cover as many questions as possible. You can, of course, write to us on clinical.research, the email which is already on your screen. And I want to add that in the end, you will also receive a survey which will pop up on your screen. There are couple of questions. Please answer them, and also you can also leave your question there that we can answer later on if it is not answered during this webinar. One point I would like to mention is about deadlines, and I want to reiterate this, that we are very strict with our deadlines. We do not accept applications even if they are 1 minute late than the deadline. So please do not wait for the last minute submission. And besides this, I would like to highlight some of the areas which Dipanvita already touched upon. Some area which we find that applicants do not put that much effort in that so that they can improve their application. So I am highlighting some of those. One is milestone and sustainability plan. This is very important. Most people put a lot of focus on their research proposal, but they leave these other sections not properly filled. So I would request you to fill this section properly. Similarly, the section on animal uses and human participant experimentation, provide us full details of your study design. This is very, very important for the reviewers. There is also one section where we see that although instructions are provided in the form, very clear instructions are provided. So where investigators enlist their publications, and so they have to enlist them in a chronological order. They should mark their publications with a star where they are corresponding authors, and with a underline if they are a joint first author. However, if they are a first author, it's already given in the beginning of your publications. So please follow this regulation strictly, otherwise it's very difficult to understand the contribution of the applicant from the publication. One point is about the budget. I just want to clarify again that the budget for 10 crores is the upper cap of the budget. In this, please account for the 20 lakh flexible funding allowance, which India Alliance would add into it. So this is already included into the 10 crores. And then also account for the 10% of overheads of the proposed amount which you are proposing. Of that, we will add 10% of that amount to this, and altogether it should be less than 10 crore. Lot of applicants make this error all the time, that their budget is always exceeding 10 crores. So the budget always have to be equal to or less than 10 crores. And justify different items in the budget sections which you are asking for. Give scientific justification for the consumables. Also, for example, just don't write molecular biology reagents for like 1 crore. Don't write this. You have to make separate line items, like what kind of molecular biology items, for example, antibodies or DNA isolation or RNA isolation. So subdivide your budget headings.
Okay, let me go into a few questions now. Someone is asking about the institutions, is not-for-profit academic institutions tying up with for-profit hospitals allowed? So like I mentioned earlier, to be eligible, your institution has to be not-for-profit only. India Alliance funds cannot be channelized to for-profit organizations. As you know that our funds come through a government funder, and it's mainly Indian taxpayers' money. We fund only not-for-profit organizations. But we have also noticed that many of the hospitals have a not-for-profit wing for research. So if that is the case, then you can collaborate with the not-for-profit wing of the hospital. And a budget for traveling to international collaborators. This is another question. If this is allowed or not. Yes, you can, under the travel head, if you have a justification, then you can ask for travel for international reasons, travel internationally also for justified reasons. RCT based proposals are allowed or not? Yes, RCT you can of course propose, but as we have informed earlier, there has to be a research goal. We will not fund if it is only a clinical trial.
There is one question: if CRTP fellows are separate from project staff. Yes, CRTP is an optional part of CRC grant. You can apply to CRC grant without taking CRTP. So CRTP is an optional section, and so if you are taking CRTP fellowships, these are separate from the regular project staff which you will be hiring on CRC grants.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, someone is confused with the number of PI and co-PI. PI is one PI, of course, and you can have maximum of 3 co-PIs. So total number of investigators on the application can be 4 maximum.
Should the applicant be holding a position in, say, an ICMR institute? No, it is not important that you have a position in only ICMR institutes. Any not-for-profit institute is eligible for this.
So I have more questions on the CRTP part, and I think someone is asking if people trained as basic scientists can be kept as postdocs under CRTP. So as mentioned earlier, CRTP is designed mainly to develop physician scientists. So this is only to support graduate and postgraduate degree holders in medical science, in clinical science, MBBS, MD, or you can have Ayush, nursing, or optometry kind of degrees allowed under this, not beyond that.
Can the grant be given to only one institute? Can both PI and co-PIs from same institute? CRCs are envisioned as research-oriented centers, and by nature, they are designed to be multi-institutional. However, it is possible that a single institute can propose a CRC grant, but in that case, it has to be at least a collaboration of multiple departments inside the institute. And yes,
And
the
let me just add there, when Devender has answered this question, uh, we are very much particular about this collaboration, and we really expect that there will be collaboration between multiple organizations. But if you have genuine reason to stay within your organization, and if you have like multiple departments, huge departments or something like that, you can write to us. Please clarify with us on the email that is provided on the slide, so that application, we don't want the application to be rejected because of this reason. So I would really encourage you to write to us on the email before putting in an application with only one organization. Someone is asking if the CRC grant can be applied without CRTP. Yes, that is your choice. CRTP is only an additional program. It is not a standalone program. So if you want, you can apply for CRTP. If you don't have a plan to develop a training program, that's fine. You can only apply for CRC. Yeah, so for your staff and for the CRTP fellows, if during the duration of the grant under this project, they are getting any degree like PhD or any other degree, MPhil or anything, that's absolutely fine with us. So I also see questions about the timeline of submission of the application. As mentioned earlier, May 14th is the deadline, and we expect all your applications to be submitted. And we have also mentioned that we are very much strict with the deadline. We understand that the situation now is an unusual situation, but it is a completely online form. Only the PI can fill the form. And towards the end of the form, if you have seen the pro forma, you will find that there are two undertakings. We require undertaking from all the co-PIs under one form, and undertaking from sponsor of all the organizations participating in this grant in one form. So these can be digital signatures. You don't have to physically go visit someone for this. So if you have all the participants working online, then it's very much possible.
There is also a question on ethical clearance. I just want to clarify that you do not need ethical clearance at the time of application. However, if you are awarded, you cannot start your experiments related to ethical clearance until there is an ethical permit in place. So you can apply without the clearance.
So someone is asking if a college is eligible to apply for this scheme. Yes, if it is a not-for-profit organization, if you have all the certificates and registrations to be not-for-profit, then you can. We just expect that your organization will provide you sufficient support towards the research plan that you have proposed. In CRTP, whether pharmacy professionals are eligible. Yeah, like for optometry, nursing, and all, these are eligible, as I mentioned. So maybe pharmacy professionals can also be eligible. Budget related question is there. So if I was unclear, 10 crores is for 5 years. So the entire duration of the grant, you have to, of course, request the budget, but its maximum cap is 10 crore Indian rupees. And for presentation to conference meetings and all, you can request budget under the budget heads, under the travel head for this, for the PI, co-PIs, or for the staff as well.
There is also a question regarding our other scheme, TSG. Can same institute apply for CRC and TSG grant with different PIs and different goals? Yes, you can apply to two different grants. If the PIs, the teams are different, you can apply. But remember that both kind of grant have their different remits. So just you have to fulfill, because this is a collaborative grant that is collaborative among the individuals that you have to take into account.
So when I was talking about clinical trial, as mentioned, clinical trial can be included. Someone has asked about RCT, and I have mentioned that you can, of course, propose an RCT, but we don't fund only a trial. So there has to be a research goal. There has to be a research question. Clinical trial can be part of that. Um, so let me also clarify here that all the PIs and co-PIs need to have tenure in Indian host institutions. Someone has mentioned here that he or she is planning to collaborate with a foreign university. So you can, of course, have collaborators from foreign universities, but your collaborator from foreign university can only be mentioned as a collaborator on the application and not as a co-PI on the application. for the CRTP fellowships, each fellowship is for 50 lakhs. And someone is again asking if that is included in the 10 crores of CRC. No, that is not. It is on above of the 10 crores for CRC. So depending on the number of CRTP you are proposing and it gets approved, you get 50 lakhs for each fellowship. So there can be only one CRC application from one organization. Someone has asked us, can single institute submit more than one proposal? No, not in CRC. So because this is institutional grant, the institution will decide uh, how to put this application, and so there cannot be number of applications from one organization. So when I said 4 investigators in total, someone is asking if it is from 4 different organizations. As mentioned earlier, there has to be at least 2 organizations. So I have also shown you one example of one previously funded grantee, where there are 2 organizations. There are 4 PIs, of course, 1 PI and 3 co-PIs, of course. So there are 4 investigators, but from 2 organizations. So that is also allowed. There has to be minimum 2 organizations. If CRC has been awarded to you awarded to your organization in the previous round, you can again apply for this round. So for the PI, we did not specify the eligibility criteria like their degree and all, and the number of years of experience. So it can be any, but we just expect that the PI will have sufficient seniority and also will have sufficient experience in mentoring um, and in leadership. So he or she can be from clinical background or from basic science background, but because the project will be focused more on clinical or basic or public health research, so experience of the PI in this field is required. So for the CRTP fellowship, you are asking if um, what is included in the CRTP. Uh, so it's a fellowship, so it can be personal support for the fellow and anything to uh, support their training. If they are taking a course, you want to pay for that, that's included. Any travel to attend a meeting, anything, that's included. We are also getting questions on the kind of research that can be accepted. So we don't have any favorite area of research. Anything under the biomedical research can be proposed here. As you can see from the name, it is to support clinical and public health research. So of course, we will look for proposals in that area. Yeah, I don't see more questions coming up now. So I think we have tried to answer most of your queries. Um, one question about the salary amount for the fellow in CRTP fellowship depends on the background and on the background of the chosen fellow, on his or her degree, and how your institution pays at that level. Can a PI from an earlier CRC application be a co-PI in the next round? Yes, you can, of course. If you were not funded as a PI, then I am sure that you can again apply as a co-PI. So CRTP is mainly to train the researchers, of course. You are asking if it has to be under the broad research theme of CRC. So when you are training, we will expect that there will be some linkage, but it's not absolutely essential. It's mainly to train that fellow towards clinical research. And if you can make him or her as part of the CRC, then that's well and good. But otherwise, if your plan to train is only through courses, and I mean, it completely depends on you how you plan to train. Yeah, I think we have tried to answer most of the questions. If not, if we have missed something, please send us an email at clinical.research@indialines.org. We will be more than happy to answer your queries there. And we are working remotely, so you can't reach us through phone call. Our offices are closed now, but we will try to get back to you definitely through the emails. Okay, so we will expect you to fill the survey form, which will come as soon as you close the webinar. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you for joining us. Hope you stay safe. Thank you.